feel like that's a bit windy there. Yeah, no, so, but he's a donkey. The guy's a donkey.
Twitter all the time. He's on his yacht all the time, but guess where he's not? In the ring fighting me, so he can talk all the he wants, but the notorious MMA is scared of Jake Joseph Paul from Disney.
It is a little windy. Yes, it's south now, but the man is a donkey. He tweets constantly and spends all of his time on his yacht, but guess what? He's not facing me in the ring, so we can talk about anything he wants.
People are just really hating right now.
The infamous
like
MMA is
the
afraid of
haters are
Jake.
running.
Disney's Joseph Paul, the haters are going crazy right now because Jake Paul decided to publicly humiliate his upcoming opponents with a single Instagram post that might as well have its own fireworks show. Ever since he defeated Mike Tyson, he has been acting like he's some sort of walking jackpot, acting as though fame and fortune are going to fall on anyone brave or foolish enough to enter the ring with him.
Okay, wait, so...
But yeah, let's do it. You're going to become WWE champion.
I think so, too. I mean, bro, the ultimate goal...
Well, wait, but yeah, let's do it. You're going to become the WWE champion. I think so, too, bro. The ultimate goal is the arrogance is off the charts, plastered all over his podcasts, videos, and any promotional stunt he makes. Everything about Mayweather-Conor Khabib was absurd. But what he did yesterday was even more absurd than Jake Paul's.
He's like 34 or something.
I think he's like 32, maybe 30.
That's old.
31, 32.
That's old. He fits.
I believe he is about 32 or 34. That's age 31 and 32. He fits here, and he's elderly. I am referring to Jake Paul's Instagram post, which was a masterful example of the kind of chaos that mixes the most worthwhile promotions, publish it with shameless arrogance and just enough cleverness to make you despise how EFF5 it is. The personal hype machine of Jake Paul MVP, whether it's through viral antics, outlandish trash talk, or the kind of video that makes boxing purists clutch their pearls, his brainchild's basic idea is to make Jake Paul impossible to ignore. This time, they did it flawlessly. Jake was seen in the picture smiling as if he had just ended world hunger, standing in the middle of the crowd with a real bag of cash on display. She was never mentioned, but behind him was the pièce de résistance, a wonderfully inflated line of boxing's top stars.
He kind of went right down the list of joking. He's kidding. You're not supposed to believe any of that to be true.
He sort of fell straight to the bottom of the list of jokes. You shouldn't take any of that seriously. Ryan Garcia, the hubris of Floyd Mayweather, Devon Davis, and Conor McGregor, who were all huddled up like cartoon characters and frantically trying to acquire their golden ticket to the Jake Paul event, was outrageous. It appears as though Floyd Mayweather, a man who earns GDP-level profits from exhibition fights, is vying for Jake's attention. Waiting in line like he's at a DMV is Conor McGregor, who most likely has a whole garage dedicated to his yachts. It was ridiculous over the tube, and Jake wanted a mix of indignation and buzz. Let's not act like MVP happened to stumble into this genius. By chance, this is all part of their strategy. Putting out a post like this MVP is reinforcing the narrative that Jake Paul is the new gravitational force in boxing, the guy everyone wants a piece of, and even though the execution may have been borderline ridiculous, the strategy is spot on. People are talking, debates are flying, and Jake is doing what he does best, staying in the spotlight. Jake's entire persona is based on the idea that he's the one that everyone is chasing, the walking payday, the human lottery ticket.
How much money could you reasonably walk out of this fight with?
350 million.
$350 million.
Yes.
Wow. I know you love money, right? I mean,
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What do you do with all this money?
And, cash is king.
Do you have an ATM card?
I'm the human ATM.
How much money minus $350 million could you realistically walk away with from this dispute? Yes, I am aware that you adore money, and I mean that I do. You know that cash is essential, but what do you do with all of this money? Do you have an ATM card? I'm the human ATM. But here's the really cool part: legends such as McGregor and Mayweather truly require Paul. Jake there is Conor McGregor, whose $200 million net worth is supported by everything from proper number 12 whiskey sales to business ventures that keep him more than comfortable. Floyd Mayweather, who literally calls himself money, has been printing it for years, whether it is through mega fights or simply smiling at events for a hefty appearance fee. This means that he doesn't need Jake Paul's cash stunt theatrics to stay relevant. No matter how loud the hype is, McGregor doesn't need to join Jake's circus because he's been on the biggest stages and has little to gain by fighting a YouTuber turned boxer. However, for someone who has already shared a ring with Mayweather, Jake Paul isn't exactly a career highlight.
There's a chance that Conor McGregor will not fight again for the UFC?
I don't know. Conor McGregor's got a lot of money. And, anytime we get Conor, we'll be happy to, be thrilled when he comes and fights. But
there's a chance that Conor McGregor won't compete for the UFC again. I don't know, but Conor is wealthy, and whenever he shows up, we'll be thrilled and happy. The twist is that Jake is aware of this, but he doesn't care because the post isn't about facts, it's about attention. The strange aspect is that it's working whether you like him or not. Jake Paul lives on controversy, playing the villain and causing people to quarrel about him. He's not just making fun of one boxer, he's attacking the entire profession and declaring that he's the one who matters now. I'm sure you've heard about Jake Paul's upcoming fight with Conor, but it's not because Conor needs him, rather, it's Jake's childhood desire to fight him. Jake Paul knows how to make you look good. There have been rumors of a possible fight between the YouTuber turned boxer and the Irish MMA legend for months. It all began in 2021 when Jake started his famous trash-talking campaign, which was directed directly at McGregor. He ridiculed Conor's defeat to Dustin Poirier, confronted him on social media, and essentially used every tactic in the Jake Paul playbook to get McGregor's attention. Although Conor mostly ignored him, reliable insiders claimed that some behind-the-scenes conversations did occur.
I understand that. But the engagement that you gave to Conor, I gotta assume he was kidding. It was so outlandish, he was kidding.
I know what you mean, but I have to assume that Conor was joking when he proposed to me because it was so ridiculous. Ariel Helwani, who is an expert on combat sports, hinted in early 2023 that there had been informal talks about this fight, but let's face it, the obstacles were enormous. Conor demanded enormous sums of money for his fight purse. In addition to scheduling conflicts and the fact that McGregor was still recovering from the severe leg injury he sustained against Poirier in 2021, Jake's boxing career wasn't particularly impressive in the eyes of hardcore fans. Jake was occupied with advancing his career by taking on a variety of retired legends and MMA veterans, but the timing wasn't just wrong, it was disastrous. And then there was the UFC factor. Conor remains under contract with Dana White's Empire, and if we know anything about Dana, it's that he doesn't like his fighters entering boxing ring unless there's a ton of money up for grabs. Imagine McGregor vs. Mayweather levels of money, and let's be honest, Jake's track record of boxing YouTube stars and retired MMA fighters wasn't exactly a compelling argument for either Dana or McGregor at the time.
He doesn't do what Conor couldn't. I think, it only makes sense for him to want that money fight, but I just don't know how serious he's taking fight.
He doesn't do what Conor couldn't, and I believe that he only wants the fight for the money. However, let's not fool ourselves. If there's one thing that Conor McGregor enjoys, it's attention, and a paycheck the size of a small nation's GDP doesn't hurt either Jake or him. Meanwhile, Jake thrives on causing chaos, and his constant taunts, which range from calling McGregor washed up to bringing up his personal life, could eventually push Honor to fall for the bait. Let's face it, if this fight takes place, is Jake Paul setting himself up for the most embarrassing moment of his career? On paper. The odds aren't in Jake Paul's favor, but Jake has been getting better as a boxer, and his most notable victories have been against men who were either out of their prime or new to the sport. Conor McGregor, on the other hand, is a world-class striker who spent years at the top of combat sports, competing against the best in the world. While his recent MMA record hasn't been stellar, Conor excels in boxing, which is all about timing and intelligence. Take McGregor's 2017 fight against Floyd Mayweather, for example. Conor entered a completely different sport and managed to hold his own for several rounds against one of the greatest boxers of all time. Jake has never faced anyone even close to that level, so if he faces Conor, he's not just taking a chance to lose, he's entering a masterclass.
10 seconds. I'm sorry.
Claim that you simply must be vowed, but I simply believe that and then there's Conor's mental game. Before the bell even rings from Jose Aldo to Eddie Alvarez, McGregor mentally crushes his opponents. Jake may believe he is the master of trash talk, but Conor created the playbook if these two ever square off. Conor has been in the heads of some of the world's toughest boxers. Even though Conor is bigger than Jake, his quickness, accuracy, and ability to generate angles make him a nightmare for someone like Jake. Jake may find himself outmatched long before the gloves are even put on. Jake often uses size and strength as his tactic, but against a fighter as nimble and explosive as McGregor, that might not be enough. Conor's well-timed counterattack might make the fight a highlight reel for McGregor rather than Jake.
So you just got to be worried of that. So, but I just think, mate, take weather and that as well, and be careful and be in his face. And I just think it's something,
It makes sense that he wants that money fight, but I'm not sure how serious he is about fighting. I'm not sure how serious the fighting world is about him. For example, I'm not sure if he still has the same appeal, and let's not forget Jake's overconfidence, which is both his trademark and potentially his downfall. You have to give it to Jake whether this fight happens or not because he's already won in one way or another, and he has people talking about how much they love or hate him. Jake thrives on the idea that he can defeat anyone, but that kind of arrogance doesn't work against someone like McGregor, who has fought and defeated the best in the world. If Jake enters the ring thinking he's going to school Conor, he might end up with a harsh dose of reality and possibly a viral knockout clip to go along with it. Whether it's genius or madness, Jake Paul understands how to keep the limelight on himself, and this possible bout with McGregor is just one more way he's staying relevant. There is little doubt that Jake Paul and the disruption he causes are here to stay.
Makes sense for him to want that money fight, but I just don't know how serious he's taking fighting at all. And I don't know how serious the fighting world's taking him. Like, who knows if he still has that same appeal.